we are. We are at the end of international week. Yes, we made it through. It's not been without its challenges, obviously. But yeah, I thought what we'd do today is do a quick roundup of what happened during the break. Obviously, I've been very focused on the French team and controversy and injury crisis and all of the trouble going on with this. But the reality is that we've got a lot of players who played in a lot of games. And so I think, quite interesting to do a little debrief of what happened, what went right, what went wrong. And yeah, what are the key takeaways from this? And ultimately, I just want to break it down in a very simple way. We'll start with who performed, who did well, what were the good performances, and then who didn't perform as much. So really easy. And I think, in terms of who performed, for me, the standout, I think, in terms of contribution, has got to be Kvara. Kvaratskhelia with Georgia. They didn't have easy games to play. Both games were at home for them, though, but they took a loss against Turkey in the first game, 3-2. Kvara scored the second goal at the tail end of the game at the 90th plus 8 minutes or something like this. So he was never close to tying the game or even winning. But he did manage to get on the scorecard. And then the second game against Bulgaria, also played in Georgia. He actually got the first goal out of a 3-0 win for Georgia, which is a pretty strong performance. The goal itself is not massively impressive, and I think the one against Turkey is relatively similar as well. It's a Kvara special of getting the ball on the edge of the area and managing to get a shot off with the right foot. For the Bulgaria goal, he actually gets the ball back from a loose ball from the Bulgarian defender, manages to get into a shooting position, and the ball passes really under the keeper belly. So the Bulgarian goalkeeper isn't without reproach on this one. But anyway, 2 games, 2 goals, 2 full games for Kvara. Who, like I said, the first game played in its entirety. The second game, he got substituted at the 77th minute. So it's almost a full game as well. And hopefully that's a lot of rhythm he picked up, because I think his performances with PSG before the break were pretty underwhelming from what we heard. Both we didn't see much of him in game because apparently his physical condition in training was just not sufficient. So hopefully that helps put him in a better place. Second player I wanted to call out who had a good break, Pacho with Ecuador. It started a bit underwhelming. Their first game was against Paraguay in Paraguay. They managed to get a 0-0 draw. For Ecuador, it was actually their fourth 0-0 game and result in a row. So pretty insane, but at least from a defensive perspective, a clean sheet. And then yesterday they managed to pick up a win in the top of the table clash against Argentina in Ecuador. They managed to win 1-0. Granted, Argentina was playing a team which had a lot of substitutes and it wasn't usually the usual starters. I don't think Messi participated in this game, for example. But still, for Ecuador, a win against Argentina, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's a big result. They do manage to win 1-0, and so they actually finished second in the World Cup qualifier for the South American League, which is really proper, impressive results. At the back of some very, very strong defending, because Pacho, he's a monster, but he's got Incapi with him. They've got Joao Ordonez as well. So they've got a backline. It would be a dream for most international teams as well. Who else did well? Okay, I'm going to talk about France. And I think for us, the player who did well is really Barcola, who also had a really full international break. He played 76 minutes in the first game against Ukraine and did quite well. I think, he alternated between playing on the left and playing on the right. Obviously, France had a very, very strong first half against Ukraine. Not so strong second half, but ended up picking up a 2-0 win. And yeah, Barcola, did well in general. And then the game against Iceland yesterday in the Parc des Princes, he manages to get the winning goal for France on an assist from Mbappe. And it's just, he's finishing a counter attack. He's basically like alone with an open goal. So really, like, not the hardest goal in the world to score. But still had to be there to score it. He did that well. He came off at the 63rd minute. So hopefully he also, like, thankfully, didn't play the whole game. Doesn't look like he injured himself or anything like this. And yeah, ultimately 76 minutes in the first game, 63 in the second half. That's a pretty full week. Hopefully that also, allows him to keep ramping up in terms of fitness level. And, we're expecting a lot of him with PSG now that we've got injury crisis up front. So hopefully it puts him in the right place to perform. Couple of other players I wanted to mention who I think like generally did okay, nothing to write home about. Hakimi, he played in the first game of Morocco against Niger. It was a 5-0 win. He actually managed to get one assist of that. He played the full game, and then their second game he didn't play at all. So good performance in that first game. Saved himself some fitness on the second one. Happy days. He's back in Paris and hopefully like ready to go for the next few games. Marquinhos, kind of similar. He played the full game for their first game of Brazil against Chile, where they picked up a 3-0 win, which was very convincing. It was his 100th cap with Brazil as well, so really like a great milestone for a great player. And a great result as well. Second game, Brazil did lose in Bolivia, but similar to Argentina, they played a lot of substitutes. So Marquinhos wasn't initially on the pitch. He came on at the 60th minute, so he only played 30 minutes. By then, the score was already 1-0 against Brazil, so like no particular drama to note. And obviously, like, good for him that he didn't play the full game. The game against Bolivia, they played at like very high altitude. So it's always physically very, very tricky for the players. So yeah, at least he was managed properly and also like coming back to Paris in good fitness. And then last one I'm going to mention, like who I think collectively did okay, but also like nothing to write home about, like all of the Portuguese boys. So I'll try to do it in order. Nuno Mendes at left back. First game against Armenia, Portugal won 5-0. He was a starter and he came off at the 67th minute. Obviously 5-0 performance against Armenia, like the defenders didn't really have that much work in that game. Second one though, they played against Hungary in Budapest. They managed to pick up a 3-2 win in what was a complicated game. He played the full game, and there's at least like I remember one goal of Hungary that comes off of a cross that originates on his side. Is not really like anywhere to be seen on the footage. So I don't know exactly what was going on there, but yeah, like it felt like maybe he should have been closer to the action, or at least like help close it down a little bit. He played the full game though, plus 67 in the first one, no injuries, and yeah, a lot of game played. Maybe a prime candidate to get some time on the bench this weekend. We'll have to see, depending on what Hernandez comes back as from France. Second Portuguese player. Sorry, I'm like reading my notes at the same time. There's a lot of stuff. Vitinha played the full game in Armenia, played relatively well. No particular like contributions to note. Second game against Hungary, he came off at the 87th minute, so he might as well have played the full game. So a lot of playing time for Vitinha. And there was like, for me, the image for him is in Budapest when he comes off at the same time as Cristiano Ronaldo, and seeing like Vitinha and Cristiano Ronaldo come off the pitch together, I'm like, yeah, two legends, the like same level, really, like same thing. But yeah, so a lot of playing time for him. Maybe he played a lot with PSG as well, so I think his fitness level must be pretty good. But that's also a player that we might look at rotating and giving him a bit of time off and sitting on the bench. Next one, Joao Neves. Joao Neves played the full game against Armenia, went off at the 79th minute against Hungary. So same thing, almost played the full 2 games. He played in central midfield, which is great because the past few Portuguese games he was playing as the right fullback. So now he's more in his usual position. Played relatively well against Hungary. There's one of the goals of Portugal, I think the first one, which actually happens after like one of his shots gets deflected. So he's on the picture somewhere, even if he doesn't get credited with an assist. And yeah, generally strong performance for a player who's also, he shone bright with PSG just before the international break. And then the last one, Gonçalo Ramos, who's the substitute for Cristiano Ronaldo, who cannot really play back-to-back 90 minutes anymore at this level. So he came on at the 58th minute against Armenia and came on at the 87th minute against Hungary. So he did get a bit of playing time. Hopefully that gives him a little bit of rhythm and pace. And yeah, he's also a player that we're going to be counting on with PSG. So he's going to see the pitch a lot more coming back to Paris, which should be good for him. Now, in terms of who disappointed, the first disappointment, I'm just gonna evacuate this, just mention it, and we can move on. The injuries in the French team, Dembele and Doue both getting injured in the first game, at the back of at least in Dembele's case, questionable management from the French staff. If you haven't seen the 3 videos that I've done on the topic at this point, go see them. It's madness everywhere, but yeah, it is what it is. And not disappointed in the player so much as disappointed in the situation itself. And then Chevalier and Hernandez didn't get any playing time. Pretty unsurprisingly in both cases. Hernandez, PSG had told the French staff that he actually supposedly was injured when he went on with the French team. So good that he didn't see any action. Chevalier is the substitute goalkeeper for Maignan, who played both games. I hope at some point he gets to challenge for that starting position, but it wasn't right now. Disappointing, our new Ukrainian center back Zabarnyi. I thought was disappointing is a big word. Obviously, he's a great player and so on. I think in the France game, it's too bad because I think the second goal, which is the Mbappe goal, is really a one-on-one situation between Mbappe and Zabarnyi, and Mbappe really gets the best of him with relative ease, I'm gonna say. So maybe it's a sign of the road left to walk for Zabarnyi, and the fact that he still needs to develop. He's still going to need time to get to the highest levels. And then the second game of Ukraine, they actually didn't get better than a 1-1 draw against Azerbaijan in Baku. So obviously going to Baku to play, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Obviously Ukraine is in a very particular situation. But a draw against Azerbaijan, it's a bad result for sure. The goals that get scored against them, it's a penalty for a foul by Zinchenko, so he's not really to blame. But yeah, collectively it's a bad result, and you've got to be able to do better than a draw in Azerbaijan if you expect anything. So that was kind of it. Safonov, I didn't really see, honestly, I didn't watch much of it. He didn't play the first game of Russia, which was a 0-0 draw against Jordan. But he did play the second one, which was a friendly against Qatar in Qatar. And Qatar managed to score a goal. So Russia ended up winning 4-1. But Qatar ended up scoring a goal. So, not great for the Russian goalkeeper. I guess it doesn't really reflect that much. So yeah, that's kind of what it is and how it is. Last one I forgot to mention, actually, Kang-In Lee as well. He was playing friendly game in the US. He did all right, actually. So not really a disappointment. He played 64 minutes in the 2-0 win against the US in New York. And then 80 minutes in a 2-2 draw, which was a nail-biter because Mexico actually equalized at the 90th plus minute. So a 2-2 draw against Mexico, and he actually got an assist, I think, on the second goal of South Korea. I think second goal. I'm not entirely sure. And yeah, some interesting deliveries on set pieces as well, which is something he's good at. And we don't see that quality enough with PSG, honestly. So yeah, hopefully he brings that home as well. So anyway, this was the wrap up of who did what and what happened during this international break. It's all over now. Players are coming back to Paris. Hopefully, like, no injuries on the plane or nothing silly like this. And now we're going to be moving towards the next game, which is against Lens in Parc des Princes. It's this Sunday. So yeah, we'll do a preview probably at some point on Friday, I'm guessing. But yeah, like we're going to be moving very quickly into that. And then next week, middle of next week, we've got the beginning of the Champions League. Atalanta, it's coming. That little music is coming back. So anyway, please drop a like on this video. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. And please let me know in the comment what you thought of this break and if there's any performances that really stuck with you, that impressed you, any players that did particularly well. And don't forget, around the world, but now back in the park, ici c'est Paris!